tax, Social Security tax, plus any and all debts that the strawman incurs. For further evidence that the strawman is not you, look at your personal checks. Here's an example of a check. Notice the two red arrows. The first arrow points to the all caps name, John Strawman. You will not find your true name on your checks. The second arrow points to the signature line that ends with the letter MP, which stands for microprint. If you look carefully at the signature, you will notice that it is not a solid line. The line is made up of some words and spaces that are repeated over and over as shown here. The next image shows a section of the signature line magnified 60 times. You can clearly see that the words that make up the line are authorized signature. You can also read about security features on checks on the deluxe site. The reason the signature line on personal checks is made up of the words authorized signature is because it is a physical impossibility for the account holder, your strawman, to sign the check. Remember, your strawman has no hands with which to sign the check. The banks know that every signature appearing on a personal check is the signature of the flesh and blood agent, the authorized representative, you. However, the words are printed in microprint to disguise the fact that you are the authorized representative rather than the principal on the account. When you sign the check or any other document for the strawman, you are actually an accommodating party, in other words, surety, and therefore 100% liable for everything the principal, strawman, is liable for. Further proof that you are liable for the benefits you receive through your strawman. Do not despair. There's a way out of this malaise. There are a couple of elements to a strategy to gain freedom. One element is to copyright your name, both your true name, the all caps version, and all its derivatives. A second element is to use UCC filings to take control of your strawman, a process that is often called redemption. Names are nothing more than property. No one is his trade name, all caps spelling of your name, nor is anyone his true name. A name can be trademarked, service marked, and copyrighted by the owner for the purpose of restricting others from unauthorized use and unjust enrichment at the expense of the owner. If you are 18 or older, you, the flesh and blood man or woman, own your name, and you may copyright it under the common law. After copyrighting your name, no one will be able to use your name to enrich themselves without first gaining your agreement. Let's say a police officer pulled you over and wanted to give you a ticket. You can warn the officer that he is using your copyrighted name for financial benefit and that it is a violation of your copyright. You should also inform him that to persist in the use of your copyrighted material without your permission carries an automatic penalty of $500,000. You have just formed a legally binding verbal contract with the officer. If the officer then persists in using your name without permission, he has breached the contract. You then have the right under the UCC Article 9 to default judgment against him using non-judicial proceedings to collect on the debt that he owes you. This is a very powerful concept that can be used in dozens to hundreds of ways. The copyright notices also establishes a private contract between you and your strawman, whereby you offer services to the strawman, in other words, signing documents for it, in exchange for certain considerations. You become the creditor over your strawman, who becomes the debtor to you. You can file a UCC financing statement to receive official government acknowledgement of this private contract. This UCC is a financing statement which creates an interest in property that secures payment/performance of an obligation by your strawman for the services you render to it. This UCC filing establishes a seniority position of claim over other creditors who may make a claim based upon date and time of filing. In this way, if any party ever attacks your strawman's assets, you will have a superior claim on it. For further study in your journey toward greater freedom, read the article entitled The Exemption, and then read the article entitled Redemption.
Hopefully everybody's getting an opportunity to learn something. What you're hearing If you're tuning in for the first time, and those that are actually in trustee training, this is trustee training and civics class. And when we jump into this, I want to let everyone know who's here for the first time that everything you hear in this particular class is for educational purposes only. We do not profess to give legal advice or tax advice. If you seek the need of those things, or you feel that you need to have such advice, we profess that you seek those professionals that provide that information so that you'll be well informed. We're here to apply correct information correctly. And with that being said, we want to make sure that everybody understands that in trustee training, I'm not here to tell you how to think. My job is to simply cause you to think. Now, with that being said, I'm very impressed thus far with those who were able to get their exams. The test questions that were actually, promoted based on these trustee series. And these tests, I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. The questions that we're utilizing is designed to have you look at things in a certain type way, so that those of you that are operating in trust have a working platform that you can build on. But it's about implementation. It is about instructions. There are a lot of different processes in trust administration. My job is to bring you the fundamentals so that you can make a well-informed, well-endowed decision on what direction you should go when living and operating in commerce in trust. So with that being said, let's just reflect on what my mentor was just talking about in introducing the straw man. The straw man, in a lot of ways, if you really get a grasp on what this straw man is, how you were using him prior to trust, you'll have a working knowledge of how you are to live in trust and protect the straw man. But let's keep in mind what we've learned up until this point. See, trust is publicly promoted to protect assets. So it makes sense that once you redeem the straw man, you want to operate in trust to protect the straw man because you have a paramount security interest in the straw man. The straw man himself is a creation of government. So if you treat it in a trust relationship, it is their creation, and they have made you the beneficiary of their creation. As you discover, those of you who answered your questions and have been really studying on the information that we've been putting out on the website, you realize that even in a beneficiary position, you can enforce beneficial rights when you understand that this is a trust relationship. See, admiralty does have its place, but I tell you over and over and over again, it's knowing your place. So we're going to talk about some various different things. We're going to go into some of the test questions to get some clarity. I'm going to ask them questions, and I kind of want to get a feel for where everyone is at. And to help those that are having trouble trying to keep up in class, I am going to literally do my best to slow things down in order for you to catch up in your thinking of what you're dealing with. And I do apologize. I actually speak a whole lot slower than I think, if that makes sense to you. And so a lot of these things are new to you. You have heard about trust, but you haven't been implementing trust in your day-to-day lives. So therefore, when you have not done those things, it takes getting a certain used to, or what are you supposed to be doing. I'm gonna give you some simple concepts to grab. If you remember that every time you leave your front door, you are always operating in some form of trust, and every time you are participating in commerce, you need to have in your possession at the end of that commercial transactions evidence that a trust exists. Then there will be certain ways you contract. Just making simple what you call purchases becomes a commercial process, and you will be able to easily demonstrate and bring forth evidence that you participated in a trust transaction or trust agreement of sorts, and you have standing evidence that can be backed up by law. But that takes you calling the things in commerce what they are, not assuming, but knowing what they are. Let me give you a simple concept. Two positive numbers cannot equivalent to a zero balance. There must be a positive and negative of equal proportion in order for it to constitute a and I'm going to use a layman word. In order for you to consider something as paid, you can't use a debt to pay a debt. Which means whatever you do on one side of the ledger, there has to be an equal and opposite reaction to that, so the account is zeroed out. When you look at what you call receipts, if you notice that the purchase or trust contract you participated in demonstrates on the statement of account, because a receipt, I'm going to give you just some key words. A receipt, I want you to write the word receipt. Spell it the best way you can. I'll help you out. RECEIPT. Receipt. And I want you to draw an equal sign. Like you have a plus and a minus, then an equal sign. Equals. You're going to put receipt equals statement of account. When you are operating in trust, you won't call it a receipt. You will know that it is a statement of account. And there are certain things you will do with these statement of accounts. The simplest way to ledger your transactions and have documented proof that you participated in a trust endeavor is to acknowledge that receipt as a statement of account and endorse that statement of account with your appellation and or name, trustee name, trademark, whatever you're using in commerce. Reserve those rights under UCC 1-308. That will convert that receipt in the public to a statement of account that can be used in your trust platform. Again, write down the word receipt and then draw an equal sign. Equal, the two lines, you have plus, minus, and equal. And that is a statement of account. That way, as you participate in commerce in your day-to-day advances, you have evidence that you are acting in your fiduciary capacity to offset and discharge public obligations, and also being a fiduciary of that estate, you're able to recoup attributary tax because you are forming trust, because there is in the commercial zone no lawful legal money in exchange. There's only money of exchange, medium of exchange, and none of it is carrying on substance. So you aren't paying for anything. You are engaging in trust relationships. You are engaging in a trust agreement. You are forming a trust between the straw man's citizen and the corporate soul or entity that you committed commerce with. You have the proof, which will stand up in any court, public or private.